One of the greatest entertainers of all time. It's number one.
Oh, my mama.
Pow! It's number one. Oh, really? Well, I tell you what.
Steve Harvey Family Feud. These answers should be illegal. Picture this. You are a professional. You have been doing this for 14 years. You have a system. You ask a question. People answer. You react. Repeat. Simple formula. Unbreakable formula. And then a woman hears name a word that starts with poot and says potato. Not pothole, not pottery, not potential. Potato. As if the question asked her to complete the word and she just added the rest of the word back to itself. Steve Harvey did not speak. He did not laugh. He did not react. He simply placed his cue card on the podium, like a police officer handing in their badge, and walked off stage without a single word. Because sometimes, words are not enough. Sometimes the only response to what just happened is to physically remove yourself from the situation. That is Family Feud. That is Steve Harvey's life. And today we are going through every single answer from this bonus round compilation that should have come with a warning label. Buckle up. Why this show has survived 50 years. Let me tell you the actual secret behind why Family Feud has been on television for over 50 years. It is not the prize money, it is not the families, it is not even the questions. It is Steve Harvey's face. Steve Harvey himself said it best, and I quote him loosely here, "I say what the people at home are thinking." He is the audience's representative. Every time a contestant gives an answer that should not exist on this planet, Steve Harvey reacts exactly the way every single viewer at home is reacting. Except he has to do it while holding a microphone and maintaining some level of professional dignity, which on most days is impossible. Steve Harvey is a man who slept in his car during his early comedy career. He hustled for decades. He built himself into one of the biggest entertainment brands in America. He wrote books on relationships. He hosted Miss Universe. He interviewed presidents. And then he stood at a podium while a grown adult told him that potato starts with pot. And he walked away. Because what else can you do? What else is there? Today, we are covering the most chaotic answers from this compilation. The moments that broke him, confused him, and made him question whether the human brain was actually fully functional. Let us go. Laura says potato starts with pot. Steve quits. The question, name a word or phrase that starts with P-O-T. Pothole, pottery, potential, potluck. There are dozens of options. Hundreds, possibly. The English language is generous. It offers many choices. Laura chose none of them. Laura heard, name a word that starts with P-O-T, and answered, potato. She completed the word. She took the beginning of the question and added the rest of the word back onto itself. Like if someone asked you to name a word that starts with chalk and you said chocolate.
What do you think, Steve Harvey's
I think
wife?
it's those gorgeous dimples, Steve. You know.
Okay, you.
The dimples, the dimples. The dimples.
The answer is the question. The question is the answer. It is a linguistic loop that has no exit. Steve Harvey stared at Laura. He did not blink. He did not speak. He picked up his cue card. Slowly, deliberately, with the energy of a man who has made a decision, placed it gently on the podium, and walked off stage. No commentary. No roast. No explanation. Just a man choosing peace. And the funniest part? The audience was laughing so hard they did not even need Steve Harvey in the room anymore. Laura had already done all the work. Steve Harvey simply acknowledged it with the most dignified exit in television history. Snoop Dogg says pie in the horse, and nobody is surprised. Celebrity Family Feud. Snoop Dogg is in the fast money round. For those unfamiliar with fast money, it is a rapid-fire round where you have very little time to think and must answer immediately. The idea is that your first instinct is your best instinct. Snoop Dogg's first instinct is legendary. Steve Harvey asks, pie in the what? The blank. Fill in the blank. Pie in the blank. Pie in the sky. Pie in the face. These are the options a functioning human brain produces in this moment. Snoop Dogg, without hesitation, without doubt, without a single moment of internal review, answers, horse. Pie in the horse. Steve Harvey did not react immediately. He needed a moment. He needed to process whether he had heard correctly, whether the cameras were still rolling, whether this was actually happening on network television. And then he called Snoop out. He asked him, gently but directly, whether some of Snoop's brain cells had been lost to his very famous lifestyle choices. And Snoop just smiled, completely unbothered. Because Snoop Dogg has been saying things like this for 30 years and has never once felt bad about it. Pie in the horse. Number one answer? No. Living rent-free in our heads forever? Absolutely yes. Maya Shella says someone on their deathbed is faking it. Steve freezes. There are wrong answers, and then there are answers that exist in a completely different category. Answers that are so specifically, uniquely wrong that they stop time. Steve Harvey asks, what is the most surprising confession you could hear from someone on their deathbed? Expected answers: I was in the CIA. I have a secret child. I buried the treasure. Big dramatic revelations. Things that would actually be surprising on a deathbed. Contestant Maya Shella steps up and answers, with complete sincerity, with genuine confidence, without a single sign of doubt, that the most surprising thing someone could confess on their deathbed is that they are faking it. Faking their own death while on their deathbed. Steve Harvey went silent, not for 2 seconds, not for 5, for 30 seconds. He stood at that podium and said absolutely nothing for 30 full seconds of live television. He was not processing, he was not gathering his reaction. He was simply trying to understand whether what had just happened was real. Eventually, he continued the show. We are still not sure how.
All right, man, let's go. We ask 100 million. Name something you have more of than Steve Harvey.
I'm so sorry, Steve. Charm.
No medical assistance was required, but several viewers were concerned. Maya Shella's family laughed. Maya Shella stood there looking proud. And Steve Harvey added another layer to the invisible weight he carries on his shoulders every single episode. Chicken noodle is not a work-appropriate suit. Now this one is special, because the problem is not the answer. The problem is that the contestant did not hear the question correctly. And the result is one of the most wonderfully confusing exchanges in game show history. Steve Harvey asks, name a suit that is not appropriate for work. The expected answers: a birthday suit, a swimsuit, a Halloween costume, things that are technically called suits, but should not appear in a professional environment. This gentleman heard something different. What he heard, apparently, was name a soup that is not appropriate for work, and answered accordingly. Chicken noodle. Steve Harvey stared at him. Chicken noodle, not a suit, a soup. The man had completely misheard the question and answered a totally different question with full confidence and complete accuracy. Chicken noodle soup is, in fact, not appropriate office attire. He was technically not wrong about the thing he thought he was answering. Steve Harvey had to explain to this man, very carefully, very clearly, that the question was about suits, not soups, suits, the clothing. The man processed this information, nodded, and the audience lost it completely. Because there is something uniquely hilarious about someone being completely right about the wrong question. Jeff Garland's fudge cancer introduction destroys Steve immediately. And finally, a moment that proves that even celebrities are not immune to absolutely destroying Steve Harvey before the game has even started. Celebrity Family Feud. Jeff Garland, comedian, actor, known funny man, comes out for his introduction. Standard stuff. Tell us your name, what you do, and what charity you are playing for. Simple. Jeff Garland mentions casually, during his introduction, that he is dating someone's mother. Then he announces his charity. And then, because Jeff Garland is who he is, he immediately clarifies that his charity is not called a certain profane word, followed by cancer. Because that disease does not exist on Family Feud. Steve Harvey stared at him. The audience was already gone. And Steve Harvey delivered one of the greatest 3-word sentences in the history of this show. Okay, I gotcha. You are stupid. Not mean, not cruel, just honest. Deeply, professionally, completely honest. Jeff Garland had walked onto his stage, introduced himself, discussed his love life, named a fake charity, and denied the existence of a swear word. All in one breath. Before a single question had been asked. Before a single buzzer had been pressed. Steve Harvey never had a chance. He never does. And honestly, we would not have it any other way. The man who always comes back. And that is why this show has been on television for over 50 years. Not because of the prizes, not because of the format, because of moments exactly like these. Laura completed the word potato by answering with potato. Snoop Dogg put pie inside a horse. A woman suggested that a dying person might be faking it. A man answered a question about soups when the question was about suits. And Jeff Garland destroyed Steve Harvey before the opening buzzer had even sounded. And through every single one of these moments, Steve Harvey came back. He walked back onto that stage after the potato incident. He survived Snoop Dogg's fast money round. He processed Maya Shella's deathbed theory in real time, on camera, in silence, for 30 seconds, and then continued hosting the show. Because that is what legends do. They come back. Every episode, every season. Suit pressed, smile ready. Fully aware that today, someone is going to say something that has never been said on television before. And completely okay with that. Subscribe right now if this video had you crying laughing. Because every single week we are bringing you the most unhinged, most chaotic, most gloriously stupid moments in celebrity television history. Drop a comment. Which answer would have made you walk off that stage and never come back? I need to know. See you in the next one.